Shall I go? Benny to Nick, shall I start? Hello everybody and welcome to Brands Hatch for our live coverage of the F3 Cup. It's Darryl Jones on pole position from Tony Bishop, Robbie Watts and Stuart Wiltshire. It's a 15-minute race on a glorious day here at the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit. The Revs Rise are about to get up and running, and away we go. It's a brilliant start from Shane Kelly, a terrible start from Stuart Wiltshire, who gets bogged down on the grid. But as they turn towards Paddock Hill Bend for the first time, it's Darryl Jones, winner of race 1 yesterday, who leads as they climb up Hellwood still towards Druids. To others a little slow off line. I think it was Mark Harrison also who possibly got bogged down as Pat make it through Druids in one piece. Stuart Wiltshire looking to recover as at the front of the field it is Darryl Jones leads the way. There is Shane Kelly, the triple winner from the opening event of the season, Donington Park, sliding through into third place. He sets off in pursuit of Tony Bishop, but all the while Darryl Jones looking to stretch his legs in the early stages. There's Robbie Watts, demoted to fourth, but looking to fight back in pursuit of Shane Kelly. And Watts darts to the inside as they turn down through Paddock Hill Bend. They've got race 1 runner-up George Lyon as well, just behind them. That's George in the white and red machine. And then we have got Jacopo Sebastiani as well, not too far adrift. If anything, it's a battle for fourth and fifth that's now coming together. Robbie Watts coming under a little bit of pressure from line, and that's going to allow the University of Wolverhampton Racing Team entry of Shane Kelly to set off in pursuit of F3 Cup stalwart Tony Bishop. So they swoop through Surtees into Clearways and then accelerating out of Clark Curve, allowing the camber of the road to run for them. They sprint along the Brabham Straight, then towards Paddock Hill Bend. You can already see the advantage that Darryl Jones has got, just shy of 2 seconds at the front of the field from Bishop and Kelly. Robbie Watts has had a good lap. He has shaken off the attentions of George Lyon, and it's now Lyon who's just got Jacopo Sebastiani looming behind him. Or Shane Kelly, triple winner in the opening meeting of the season, finished third in race 1, but nobody could get anywhere near to Darryl Jones. And now Robbie Watts starting to come back at him. Robbie Watts in one of the Lara F308s. And Robbie, who knows this circuit extremely well, he's worked as an instructor at Brands Hatch for many years. He's also been at the sharp end of the F3 Cup for several seasons. Knows every trick in the book, so he looks to close up onto terms with Shane Kelly. And of course, as Kelly has to consult his mirrors, then that gives Tony Bishop the opportunity to ease away. There is the Masters class entry of Geoffrey Hoodless, the relatively local driver from Woking. It's the fight for third. Turns through Graham Hill Bend, and the laps get reeled off with such mesmeric rapidity here on the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit. You talk to some of the drivers who compete in the F3 Cup, who've raced in Formula 3 here over the years, and they'll tell you it's almost like doing an oval race because the laps go by so quickly. There isn't really anywhere to rest because this section of the track now, along the Brabham Straight, you're always busy to set up for Paddock Hill Bend. A little bit further back, a good scrap. It's Malcolm Scott who has got Daniel Tapanos just in behind him. Tapanos in the dark car looks to the outside of Scott at Paddock Hill Bend. As Robbie Watts able to close up again onto turns with Shane Kelly as they come out of Druids into Graham Hill Bend. It seems that Kelly is a little bit more confident through the faster turns, but Robbie Watts able to close up in the turbulent air through the tighter sections of the circuit, particularly at Druids and Graham Hill Bend. Now, what can Robbie Watts do about lining up the move on Kelly as they come out of Clark Curve? And Robbie Watts a little bit closer than he was last time around in the royal blue car. It's the car with the fluorescent roll hoop of Shane Kelly just clear of him. Watts thinks about jinking to the inside, nothing doing there. So instead he again settles into the train behind Kelly as they climb up towards Druids. But Kelly, very experienced competitor, knows exactly what he needs to do in terms of placing the car. He's just sticking to the racing line. But the one distraction they might have, you just caught a glimpse of him there, is they're about to come up on to Geoffrey Hoodless and put a lap onto the Masters class car, and Kelly scythes through into Graham Hill Bend. He makes it through safely, and that brave move has actually bought him a tenth of a second or two over Robbie Watts. You can see how that gap has opened out over the course of the past lap. Last time round it was 0.2 of a second between them. And Kelly, using the traffic to his advantage, has built that now to the best part of 3/4 of a second. As we hit 1/3 race distance in this 15-minute race. There's Jacopo Sebastiani, Italian driver, running with the Omicron Racing team. But what about battle of the front? Because we have got Tony Bishop just beginning to close back up to Darryl Jones. We've got this pair of cars duking it out for 3rd place because Robbie Watts has gained the best part of 3/4 of a second over the course of the last lap, and now Watts is really getting close once more to Kelly. Is he going to be able to line up the move as they head towards Paddock Hill Bend? He's 1.5 car lengths back as they jump onto the brakes. And Watts thinks better of doing something a little bit risky, a little bit too brave, so instead he just settles in behind him. The pair of them climb up to Druids, get on the brakes, swing round the hairpin at Druids, and then run downhill to the left-hander at Graham Hill Bend. There's the battle at the front of the field, which is now some 2.9 seconds clear of this fight for 3rd, but despite the fact that Kelly and Watts are dicing with each other, they have been able to ease clear of George Line as well. Robbie Watts using every inch of the road coming out of Clark Curve, and it means that he is just fractionally closer to Kelly than he was on the previous occasion. But the problem with these Formula 3 cars is that, relatively speaking, they have actually a lot more grip than power, and that means the braking distances are incredibly short. So unless you are significantly quicker than your rival coming out of a corner or feeling incredibly bold on the brakes, then it can be somewhat challenging to find a way through, and that's what Robbie Watts is finding at the moment. The other factor, of course, is these are essentially miniature Formula 1 cars, and therefore there is a lot of turbulent air being kicked out from the back of Shane Kelly's car. Robbie Watts having to drive through that, but at the risk of potentially pushing his tyres a little bit harder than he would like to, and in turn that will give him some understeer potentially a little bit later on in the race. So they're in to their 10th lap. Here's the fight at the front of the field. The dark car of Darryl Jones has led ever since the race got underway. Tony Bishop, a very solid 2nd place. Jones, who took the victory yesterday, 1.1 seconds clear of George Line. He's now just 0.6 of a second clear of Tony Bishop. We'd expect Bishop to go well on a Sunday, and he is not quite close enough to pounce, I'd suggest, on Darryl Jones just at the moment, but we've still got half of the race remaining. Fight for 3rd and 4th continues apace. In 5th place then we have got George Line. In 6th place it's Jacopo Sebastiani. 7th is Daniel Tapanos. 8th Malcolm Scott. 9th Stuart Wiltshire. 10th is Mark Harrison. Wiltshire and Harrison both really hampered by their poor starts to the race, with Jeffrey Hoodless leading the Masters class in 11th position. There is Sebastiani coming slightly distant 6th position as the two leaders turn into 30s, not much between them. The same goes for the fight for 3rd and 4th. This is very impressive from Robbie Watts, being able to master the turbulent air, but now Tony Bishop, last time he took a 10.5 out of the race with Darryl Jones. It's a gain of a further 10th of a second on the 11th lap of the race. Oh, but Bishop loses at Paddock Hill Bend. Tony Bishop goes around and into the gravel trap. There he is. And he is emphatically beached and out of the race. Such a shame. And he just lost out with that battle of the razor's edge. These cars have all the grip in the world until suddenly you get through that aerodynamic downforce and they have none whatsoever. And I rather fear that that's what caught out Tony Bishop. That serves to elevate this battle between Shane Kelly and Robbie Watts, therefore, to the fight for 2nd position. Also gives Darryl Jones a very comfortable lead at the front of the field, and Jones will be mightily relieved about that. As the cars streaking through, they're going to have the waved yellow flag area over at Paddock Hill Bend. The good news being, of course, that Tony Bishop is fairly deep into the gravel trap, and therefore we're not going to have a safety car. Meanwhile, George Line is just closing up onto this Shane Kelly-Robbie Watts battle. This is the race leader Jones, 4.1 seconds his advantage over Kelly. Kelly's heroes, the University of Wolverhampton Racing Team, doing a great job in terms of the preparation of the car, and I just wonder if they've gone the right way with setup here, because Kelly, as we head into the final third of the race, would seem to have pulled the pin and eased away from Robbie Watts. And in fact, at the conclusion of this 13th lap of the race, it's George Lyne who is closer to Watts than Watts is to Kelly. But Robbie has got plenty of tricks up his book. So has George Lyne, with the helmet not dissimilar to the livery that Nelson Piquet wore when he raced in British Formula 3 back in the 1970s. Of course, his son, the 2004 British Formula 3 champion as well. Kelly swoops through Surtees and out of Clark Curve and clearways along the Brabham Straight. Robbie Watts in third position breaks the timing beam. He's further 10th of a second adrift of Shane Kelly on that last occasion. George Lyne not quite able to close the ground up too much at the moment. As Kelly gets on the brakes, snicks down through the gears, navigates Graham Hill Bend. This is his target, and his target is coming back towards them. This could be quite a fascinating finish to the race, because Darryl Jones gave away over a second to Shane Kelly last time round, as Kelly posted his personal best lap of the race. Now let's see if that rate of capture continues. It was 2.5 seconds last time around, and it comes down to just 1.8 seconds. Fastest lap of the race set by Shane Kelly. Now this could be fascinating. We've got time probably for 5 more laps, given just how quickly they negotiate the Brands Hatch Indy circuit. It was a time of a 42.781 for Shane Kelly, and that is 0.3 of a second faster than the fastest lap that he posted in yesterday's race. So now the question is, can Darryl Jones respond, or indeed does he need to respond, because the clock keeps ticking downward. And of course there is that motorsport adage that it's one thing to catch the car in front, it's quite another to find your way past it. Down through Paddock Hill Bend for Darryl Jones, the race leader. That lap was a little bit better. He stemmed the loss somewhat, just 1/10 of a second faster for Shane Kelly. It does mean that Kelly has been able to really pull the pin and ease away from Robbie Watts. So the leading duo separated by 1.6 seconds. Third place is Watts, fourth place George Lyne, fifth Jacopo Sebastiani, sixth Stuart Wiltshire, seventh Daniel Tapanos, eighth is Mark Harrison, ninth Malcolm Scott, and 10th Jeffrey Hoodless. A little bit of a wiggle there coming out of Clark Curve for Darryl Jones. He flashes over the line. 2.5 minutes remain. He places the lap on Jeffrey Hoodless, and that was the response we were looking for from Darryl Jones. He sets his personal best lap of the race of 42.9. It's matched to within a couple of hundredths of a second by Shane Kelly in second place, but it means that Kelly is getting no closer to Jones. Jones exits Graham Hill Bend. Kelly in second. Robbie Watts in third has seemingly shaken off the attentions of George Lyne. Indeed he has. Watts now 2.5 seconds clear. So the invisible piece of elastic between the leading trio continues to go in and out. Now this would appear to have been a bit of a better lap for Shane Kelly. 43.5 for Darryl Jones, a 43.0 for Kelly. He's now within 1.1 seconds of the race leader. Here's the battle, climbing uphill into Druids. And Kelly doing exactly what he needs to do, making the business of getting a Formula 3 car around the Brands Hatch Indy circuit look very straightforward when it's anything but that. So he swings through Surtees, dropping Robbie Watts all the while. For Darryl Jones, he is about to embark on his penultimate lap of the race. So just a couple of miles really available to Shane Kelly to try and find 1.1 seconds as Jones responds in perfect fashion. He now sets the fastest lap of the race with a 42.719. Gap from first to second remains 1.1 seconds. If anything, it is a little bit more than that as the pair of them negotiate Graham Hill Bend, sprint along the Cooper Straight on towards Surtees. Here is our Masters class leader, Jeffrey Hoodless. absolutely beautiful march. He has got Stuart Wiltshire in 6th position, chasing him down to put a lap on him. Because, of course, Hoodless in the oldest car in the race by quite some margin. You wouldn't expect it to be running at the pace of some of the more contemporary machinery, as now we go into the final lap of the race. And Darryl Jones has done exactly what he needed to do in this second race of the F3 Cup weekend. He's converted pole position, withstood the pressure from Tony Bishop, who of course spun away his chances early on. And he has now got closing up onto his tail, but not really able to do anything about him, Shane Kelly. Just a couple of corners remaining, and Kelly isn't going to be able to challenge unless there is some sort of disaster for Darryl Jones, and the same goes for Robbie Watts in 3rd place. So Jones accelerating now along the Brabham Straight. The checker flag is poised and ready. It's a super victory. Congratulations to Darryl Jones. He wins the second race of the weekend for the F3 Cup. Our runner-up is Shane Kelly. That will do his championship lead a world of good, and it's Robbie Watts who completes the podium with a slightly distant 4th place for George Lyne. 5th goes the way of Jacopo Sebastiani, and Stuart Wiltshire, after bogging down at the start, is able to recover to claim 6th position. Well, the work far from done this weekend for the F3 Cup. They have got their longer race of the weekend, the 20-minute race, that will conclude their weekend, due to get underway a little bit later on today. So make sure you do join us live at around about 5:30 when that final 20-minute race of the weekend will get started. For now, though, plenty of opportunity for Darryl Jones to celebrate. He gives the thumbs up to the marshals around the circuit. We'll give you a quick rundown of the classification, with victory then for Darryl Jones, 2nd place to Shane Kelly, 3rd was Robbie Watts, 4th George Lyne, 5th Jacopo Sebastiani, 6th Stuart Wiltshire, 7th Daniel Tapanos, 8th was Mark Harrison, 9th Malcolm Scott, and Jeffrey Hoodless in 10th place, and also taking the Masters class honours.
Darryl, brilliant. You must be so pleased. You've got 2 wins so far this weekend. You're going for the hat-trick?
Well, I'm going to try. The last race is 20 minutes long. Tyres were just starting to go in that race, so we'll see how it goes, but that's the plan.
Yeah. You were obviously really pleased with your pace, I would imagine.
Yeah, I just sort of try to control a sensible pace because, you know, it's difficult to pass, but if someone gets close, they will have a go. So, yeah, I just try and keep it on the black stuff.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks ever so much. Shane, come on in. Shane Kelly. So, you had obviously a brilliant time at Donington. This weekend, is Darryl proving a little bit tricky?
A little. But, you know, we've got pace. We need to use it properly. I mean, we're P5 on the grid for 2 races, and the first start we had a problem, and that put us back to last. So we to P3 then for yesterday, and P2 today is brilliant, really. I mean, well, again, mindful of P2 on the grid for next time. And then I can try and do something from the front. And again, we were chasing through from 5th last time. We've been probably the best start we've ever done in this car just now, so that was good. And again, the car was in bits. The students have really worked overnight to get it ready. So yeah, it's going to plan. So
yeah. Excellent. All right, thanks ever so much, Shane. Come on in, Robbie Watts, who finished 3rd for the podium. How was it for you this particular race?
I'm still struggling with the broken wrist, but on the mend, getting fitter every day. So it's just a case. I'm 6 weeks behind everybody else, so I'm still struggling a little bit. But in the gym every day and just keep on pushing on until I get back to full fitness, really.
Well, good man. Considering you're 6 weeks behind everybody else, you're doing tremendously well then to be on the podium at all.
Yeah, I mean, we took pole yesterday, but obviously lost pole by, I don't know, a couple of thousandths because I ran wide. And they just allowed my time, which is a bit of a shame, but that's the rules. That's the rules. So, but yeah, we'll give it another go this afternoon. We're starting from 3rd again, so we'll see what we can do from there, and just look forward to Spa.
Brilliant. Thanks ever so much, Robbie. So there you go. That is it from the podium for the F3 Cup so far, but we'll have another race from them a little bit later this afternoon.